It's time for the type of energy only Darren McCarty and Neil Rule can give. It's time for Big D Energy, live on Woodward Sports. Join four-time Stanley Cup champion and legendary badass Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neil Rule, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., as they give their takes on all things Detroit sports. The number one midday show in Detroit is on. Welcome to Big D Energy.
Yo, what's going on? Big D Energy here. Yeah, D-Mac. No Neil. Nobody else. KG, you're going to come over here. KG's here. Spenny's here. I'm here. Makeshift Big D Energy show. Neil, obviously you saw him yesterday. He's on his travels. He'll be back tomorrow. You never know who's going to show up in studio. Right. But what's going on, boys? It's beautiful. Two days. It's only apropos, Kenny. WWE holiday shows down at LCA tonight, so why not have a full show of D-Mac here? It's been a long time. I said we usually don't drop the hammer and the Hemi on the boat in the wintertime with this weather, but we'll do what we need to do.
For sure. Old D-Mac's got it.
Old D-Mac's got it. Old D-Mac. Here we go. So let's just, guys. When the cats are away, the mice will play, as they say. So, what do you guys want to talk about today? What do you want to talk about? Whatever you guys out there, because if they're going to let me run the ship, then we don't have to talk about all the mundane bullshit things. You're going to actually force me to pay attention and not check out all the new stuff, all the new anime and stuff like this. But first off, boys, what's going on?
It's kind of brutal outside. I hate that. And I don't know. I feel like it's just ever since the Lions lost their spark, a part of my holiday cheer has died. You know, it's not the same anymore. It was a depressing watch on Sunday.
You know what it is?
I couldn't even do it. I opted out of football this weekend. I couldn't do it.
You know what it is? It's like you had your first bike, right? And it was awesome, cruising around town, and then the air out of the tire. And you didn't know how to fix it by then, but it seems like over the weekend reality set in and we aren't part of the playoffs. And then you go and you watch. Did anybody watch the game last night?
I did.
Falcons, Rams, or whatever like that. And then you see all these little missteps. You know, Baltimore winning the other day and stuff like this, and it's frustrating. But Spenny, I think more people are in the boat that you're in than anything else.
Yeah, and we saw kind of Matthew Stafford choke away the MVP yesterday.
Yeah. Well, not just that, right? Like, so if you want to focus on one guy, and I don't care what it is, that Puka Nacua, holy cow. The catches he made weren't, either a penalty, which was like, I don't know. Don't get me started on the referees. But, the Rams really didn't do themselves any service yesterday. They really needed that game. And, yes, Matthew Stafford was arguably in contention. Now do you shift to Drake May?
I think it is Drake May, or I think you even look at Christian McCaffrey a little bit as well with what he's been doing, man.
Do you think that, and this is my question, I think as open as this season is with that, and usually there's like a sort of season favorite and stuff like that, I think the MVP goes to the team. Right, so like the fact that if New England clinches up one in the AFC or San Fran gets home field and stuff like that, I think that's where the voters will look in and say, hey, this guy is the most valuable. Usually it's just like best player, best stats, but the way the season's gone and this, to me, this NFL season is as close to an NHL season as far as with the parity. Yeah. From top to bottom, so... yeah, it's just spending to your point. It's frustrating. I think we're all still a bit in shock.
I think yesterday kind of highlighted how open the NFC is, because like that was the team you looked at. Obviously, the Eagles are a great team, and that defense looked gnarly against the Bills.
Especially Jalen Carter back.
Yeah, but like the Rams were the team pretty much the whole year that everybody's like, all right, this is the best team in the NFC. This is the team that you're probably going to see come out of the NFC and represent that in the Super Bowl. And now we've seen, 2 weeks now against the Carolina Panthers and yesterday against the Falcons where Matthew Stafford had his, those demons talking to him and he was just throwing shit up for grabs. And that kind of disappoints me even more because that just looks at how wide open the NFC was this year. Obviously, with the injuries to like Micah Parsons and stuff like that, it made it even more open. But I think it just highlights even more of a missed opportunity for the Lions.
No, it really does, and that I guess the knife gets stuck in a little bit deeper. What do we got in the chat? Cherry Bail Bond says that Drake May is your winner. It's over. I like what what is it? TPY7TE. To be honest, these teams out of the playoffs, smacking teams in the playoffs is wild.
Yeah.
Like they're not quitting. And even to that game last night, right? Stafford makes that throw to Smith, with like 10 seconds left or whatever like that. We're talking different. So
it would have been a walk-in touchdown. He was wide open.
Yeah.
Or at least a tying field goal or another shot. But I think that you nailed it. Like that. Like, who is the odds-on favorite?
Yeah,
Is there an odds-on favorite? And I think this is like the pit. Like, this reminds me of the NHL, at least the Eastern Conference in the NHL, where it's just every night. But and to your point, Spenny, it's so disappointing. So, Kenny, will you come back? Are you coming back for college football? Or are you coming back for football?
I'll definitely be back. For college and then the playoffs, of course. But it was a tough thing to get through, just knowing like where this Lions team was and how it all turned out. I'm seriously questioning what the offseason can look like, because the more this goes along, the more I'm on the train of they can't get this done in one offseason. There's a lot of holes. There's a lot more holes to open up with some of the guys that's going to leave the team, aside from injuries. So, yeah, it's tough, man. I hate that we have one more week to go, because I know that Dan Campbell's defeated. I know that these players are defeated. I just pray to God that he plays the backups and we just get out of there and let's get to the offseason.
We're all on that page, right?
Yeah, and we do have some audio from Dan Campbell talking about that and what's going on there. But yeah, I feel like there's no way you can do that. And like I said, we're gonna get into that next segment. But man, the injuries around the league this year have just been crazy, and I think that's really created a lot of parity. And like the Packers probably should have been one of the favorites, if it wasn't for obviously Micah Parsons going down. Right. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs, but it could be anybody's game. And I'm looking at teams in the AFC more than the NFC. Like I really like Houston. I really think Houston can get it done.
So here exactly. I think
the NFC looked like the better conference for most of the year, but like you said, the injuries are starting to pile up now.
And I think that I'm going to go by, at least for me personally, is you look at what's Philly's biggest strength last year was being healthy. Not at the end of the season. They fought their way in. So I'd be looking at teams, and that's where you say, how is Houston looking as far as injury-wise? They're probably one of the more healthier teams, right? At least with their defense or their strengths. Because isn't it about your strengths being strong? Yeah. Every team's got to fill in backups, and that's what it came down to. Somebody said, we were having a conversation with a buddy, and it was, the conversation is, well, you know what, like, this is how injuries catch up, and it's all about your replacements. And he says every team has injuries, and I says, yeah, well, every team has better replacements then. And that might be something too, Kenny, because you bring up a great point. There's decisions now to be made with where you're at in this team on who you're going to sign. I'm sure those conversations will come up, and who you're not going to sign. Like speculation, whereas going into this season, Laporta and Branch, where your next guys are going to be signed. Well, they're coming off some pretty serious injuries, so those have to be into considerations. But a lot of times, right, you look at it. What were you using, your fifth string center?
Yeah.
So.
It was pretty bad.
I've always said it, like, if Dan Campbell truly believes he's got to prepare like everybody, all your starters are going to get injured, then you have to solidify the support system and stuff like that. So I think it makes it more interesting. My question, and I want to know from you guys, as it's sort of set in the disappointment of the season, is there one area that irks you more than anything else? Because for me, the non-negotiable was always the run defense. Yeah. Right? And the way that we got obliterated, and that pretty much, took us out. You can pinpoint, it was this play, it was that. No. But to have that foundational breakdown of letting teams run on you at will like they did, to me, that is the biggest glaring mark. Was there, is that...
I think you nailed it with that because, like, the secondary banged up. I mean, you could talk about, like, Dan Campbell's practices and the injuries and, like, connections there, but you can't really do much about, like, your whole secondary going down.
Right.
You can't do much about these young offensive linemen struggling in the beginning of their career. You got a fifth-string center in there and a couple rookie guards. It's probably not going to look great. Pretty much your entire front seven was healthy all year. To lose to the – that's why I put it out on X the other day. Like, to lose to the Steelers, I think, was the most embarrassing loss of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, obviously, the Vikings were a worse team, and the Vikings beat you. But, like, that's a divisional
Beat you
matchup.
twice, bro.
It's Brian Flores. I can make sense of that because of the way he is aggressive on defense, and your offensive line was ass. To allow Jalen Warren to come into your house and look like prime Emmitt Smith is inexcusable. You cannot lose a game like that, especially a game that you needed to keep your season alive. So, yeah, I would agree. I think the run defense falling apart was the biggest disappointment of this season.
I'm not mad at that answer, but it's hard for me to not say the offensive line issues because you knew what you had going into the year. And to me, you had enough time to maybe figure that out. And it's looking like you might have had too much faith in guys like Tate Ratledge, who will be good going forward. Like, that was a good draft pick, but I don't know if he was ready for that moment. You're in the middle of a Super Bowl chase right now, so to send the offensive line out in the condition that it was in turned out to not be good. And I know they did have moments here and there where they looked good overall, and I know highest scoring offense, that stat, we all love that stat, but when you just look at what really happened, you sent a guy with only 1 year of experience at a guard position. You sent another guy who was a aged out veteran who is better at a guard position. You put him at center, and you put a day one starter at your other guard spot. Then you add in Taylor Decker gets hurt in the preseason. Throughout the season, Penei Sewell's dealing with different things. You knew what this offensive line was. You knew that was the lifeblood of this team. And to see how this season turned out, it's hard not to say that's the biggest disappointment.
No, that's true. And to your point, Kenny, with the risk, and you said, well, it didn't work out. Right? They put their eggs in the younger basket that they could adjust. Now, I mean, let's go back and obviously losing Frank when you did, I don't think you expected that. But how you reacted to that, you didn't fill it properly because this is where you're at.
You trusted the kids, and it bit you in the ass.
And it didn't work, and it almost doesn't it feel like. The last few years, you're just continuing to make these steps forward. This is almost regression.
Yeah, for sure regression. This is a big step back, and that's why I'm not freaking out as much about the like the entirety of the Lions, because this is their first true step back, and it's all about how do you fix that, how do you adapt from that. But the only problem is the Lions were still looking to make that last step forward. So it's not like you were even at the pinnacle yet. You were still trying to get better, still trying to progress, and now you've taken this huge step back. So now you got to fight back to get to where you were and then take another step forward on top of that. So we're going to see. There's going to be a lot of things that they got to address in the offseason, but this season isn't over, and they have some decisions to make when it comes to playing guys in Week 18. We got Dan Campbell's thoughts about that. We're going to get into that coming up after the break. Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, should they play in a meaningless Week 18 game? We'll hear Dan Campbell's thoughts on that. But first, let me tell you about BlackRock. Shout out to BlackRockRestaurants.com. They got them all over the place. You can go and check it out. You can get 20% off of your total bill if you mention Woodward Sports. They've got a 25-ounce sirloin on the menu, courtesy of Darren McCarty, the enforcer. They've got a brand-new menu with Cajun steak bites and those crab stuffed portobellos with hollandaise. Make sure you go check it out, BlackRockRestaurants.com. And let me tell you about Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning. Go to SharonsHeating.com. They got a brand-new website. You can schedule online, get free instant quotes, and check out all your financing options. Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning. They've been keeping families in Michigan warm for over 40 years, so you can trust them as well. SharonsHeating.com.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today. Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts Woodward Sports. We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone where everybody, we mean everybody, can get a full-body workout in 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all that for just $15 a month, or you can upgrade to the Black Card and get use of amenities like hydro massage, total body enhancement, and access to over 2,500 locations worldwide. Tap in online at planetfitness.com, or you can just join in club. You'll see one on your way home from work, probably. They're all over the place. Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Welcome back, Big D Energy here. December 30th, a Tuesday. Right? One more day left in the 2025 year. Like, how fast did this year go?
It flew by.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Every year gets faster, too, for some reason.
Honestly. and like, that's a chat poll right there because it feels like it speeds up. Any big plans, boys?
My nephew's getting the Airbnb. Might go hang out with the nephew and bring the wife along.
That'd be a good idea. Probably spend.
I'm probably just going home and going to sleep, honestly.
I'm not mad at that either.
Yeah.
That ain't it. Big days. You excited for? Will you stay up for the countdown?
Probably
if you're home
not.
or not?
If I'm home, maybe, but I don't know. Like I said,
No luster.
No luster. We've been working all holiday season, man. I'm just trying to go home, go to sleep.
You on the grind,
Yeah.
kid.
And Spinny got that new crib, man. And you got to be at the crib to really enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to spend a bunch of money and go out. Maybe I'll stop at like a bar or something. But
Right.
You found a new one since you're so
yeah.
far from Cunan's. Like, what do you got? Chalet? Or
Yeah, my Mount Chalet.
Mount Chalet.
Yeah,
I knew that'd be right up your alley.
It's perfect, dude. It's a
It
little
is.
dive bar. It's literally halfway between work and my house, so it's perfect.
And you got a new P Fitness?
Right over there,
Right over
over on what is it?
Maple.
14,
Maple
right over
Coach.
on Maple. So shout out to them. They're hooking me up.
There
over
you go. So hopefully you guys are all playing no matter what it is. Please be safe.
Yes,
if you're
please.
going to drink, please don't drive.
Yes,
And,
Uber.
In the hood, don't shoot your guns all night. Jesus
Do not do
Christ.
that. Yeah, do not do that.
Give
People
it
trying
up,
to
Ari.
sleep. Hey, I will say it's fun. I've done it before. But we do got to talk some Lions. We're obviously going to get into some hockey. We got some Pistons to go over. But before we get into what Dan Campbell said about specifically resting guys or not resting guys in this Week 18 game, I do want to go back to what he said after the Lions lost to the Minnesota Vikings, because he kind of went retrospective on him and Brad Holmes and what they need to do. So let's tease this first and then get into what he said next segment. But this is what Dan Campbell said after the Vikings game about him and Brad Holmes needing to make changes.
Looking at a lot, I'm going to be looking at a lot of things because I do not like being home for the playoffs, and I know our guys don't either. So, and there again, whenever you lose, man, it takes a village, man. Everybody's involved, including myself, So I'm always going to look at myself first, I'm always going to wish I would have given golf more, given those players more. You know, like on a day like today, you come out, you lose, win, doesn't matter, man. If, you know, you feel like you need to improve or can't improve, you want to.
So there's Dan Campbell talking about how him and Brad Holmes are going to have to do some things. And D-Mac, from a player's perspective,
is that the most dejected Dan Campbell we've
Absolutely.
ever seen behind
Absolutely.
a mic?
Yeah.
Like to me,
He's defeated.
And sorry to interrupt you,
No, you're
Spenny,
fine.
but to asking is like empathetic. Like he is feeling all of it, and you know the one thing is that like it's authentic to me. And he sort of burdens like things got to change, and he's not happy. But that's not the Dan Campbell that we're used to, even when they were, you know, 6-20. You know what I'm saying? When they were scrambling and trying to find themselves, he was always the upbeat one and whatever. And I think that just not only that's not frustration, because frustration breeds anger. That's just like, damn, man, we just got punched in the mouth. Again and again and again, and the way that they lost and how they lost. And I think that, dude, he's standing there because you said this is after the Minnesota game, right? Yeah. He's standing there, and in his head, he's going, this guy threw 7 yards against us or whatever, was -3, whatever it is, and yet we can't find a way. Like, to me, I always believe from my experience that the losing will breed winning. You got to learn how to win and stuff like this. And at this point, you know, it's like to me, it's like a boxing champ or whatever that's, you know, had title defenses or even, you know, like because it's almost like you've won a belt and then boom, you get beat, and then boom, you get beat again, and now you're just sort of searching for the answers. And wow, I mean, I'm just wondering, did everybody get that wow, Dan's as dejected and feeling it like it's spending that's the energy you were giving off. So
I've been seeing it.
And you know what? There's one thing of me goes like, that's cool, and you know what? I appreciate it and stuff like this. Now the other part of me is, okay, now do something about it.
Right.
So,
but there ain't much you can do.
Do you
right
read
now.
anything into that?
I mean,
like, do you read anything into that as far as we did it his way and it didn't work, or we did it my way and it didn't work, or we were both on the same page and it didn't work? Like, do you sense any?
Yeah, I mean, as far as a rift between him and Brad, I don't think so. But
I wouldn't say rift, but you know, there's probably, as you always have, and I know, like even in the Red Wing organization, always there's a question of some guys like certain players more than others, and who
it could be a little bit of
comes
that.
out on top. You know.
Yeah. No, it definitely could be a little bit of that. I mean, mostly I think it's more so that Dan is just defeated, bro. Like, he has no answers. He hasn't had answers for weeks now. Whenever they ask him about this team and how they, you know, can perform with their backs against the wall, when you look at what he's been through this season, the injuries came later. That's something that you cannot control. But what you could control is roster construction. That turned out to be a net negative. Then you look at the offensive coordinator thing. He had to take over in week 10. From somebody who he thought was going to be able to carry his offensive game plan throughout the year. That was a net fail, and that's something that's on Dan directly. So I think it's a little bit of everything, man. He's kind of taking into account, like, the roster, you know, didn't perform like we thought they would. My play calling, you know, has yet to, you know, he's overloaded. You can tell he's been overloaded. And when you look at just, you know, some of the players that are on this team going forward, maybe there is a little bit of, you know, I maybe felt like this player would be better here, but Brad chose to go this way. So we're going to learn a lot during this offseason.
Yeah, and I agree with you guys. I don't think it's like him and Brad quarreling at all. And we got just little Brian with the super chat in there. He says, why is it all the culture guys are castaway players nobody else wants? At some point, you have to sacrifice. The Niners got Prime and Jerry, hated it, but knew it would make them a better team. And he's right. Like, at some point, you got to stop trying to find the fit and just go get talent. Like, go get guys that are going to help you. And I think he's done a good job of kind of doing both of that. Like Roy Lopez, he was a culture guy, culture fit. He's also one of your best defensive players all year, which is kind of sad to say that, but he played very well. And I don't think this is something between Dad and Brand. I just think that it's truly how he is. Like, he is such a hard-on-the-sleeve guy. He feels so much for these players, and he feels like he personally failed them. He feels like he let these guys down because he didn't get them prepared or put them in situations to have success.
Right.
And now, I've been saying it, like, this is his first time as a head coach other than an interim locate. Like, he's going to have to learn from this. Yeah. And I think he's kind of taking it on the chin right now of, okay, what we're doing, what we're preaching, everything that we've been doing, it's not working. We're going to have to change some things, and that might be kind of him realizing that, okay, we're going to have to change a lot of what we do and how we do it.
Did you guys think that you'd be sitting here at the end of the year when you were 6-2, playing Minnesota at home with J.J. McCarty, and that, to me, isn't that the game changer of the season?
The day the music stopped, yeah.
Right? So for all you Michigan guys, and I should have saved that one for when Neil was here, for all you Michigan guys, but really, right, and shout out to Ryan Armani.
Yeah.
It was J.J. McCarthy, really, that stuck the first, cut him to bleed.
That's their first knife into Caesar's back. Like,
I saw in the chat, Phil said that you could sense it coming out of training camp.
Yeah.
Did you guys have a feeling that this season was different, or like because slowish start, but then they started going, like you said. I didn't see the loss to Minnesota coming at home, and I didn't see the loss affecting them the way that it did. Now injuries, right?
Yeah.
That like that's the big thing. But you bring up such a great point, and I see it in the chat thread about Dan, hiring his friends, and Johnny Morton lied in his interview, or this and that. But
He lied in the interview.
Right, but that is, we're thinking about what players we're going to add and bringing in other players. The comment to that would be that's why the culture needs to be set, so you can bring guys like, and I'm not saying he's not a can't get in culture guy, but that's when you bring like a Dominic Hasek or a Brett Hull or a guy, guys in like when it was our team, because the culture is sort of already set that you have to do that. To me, though, I think you brought up a great point. Is one of the biggest ads this offseason will be offensive coordinator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, absolutely. And I've heard rumblings like Cliff Kingsbury, different guys like that. But, what do you guys put stock in there? It might not be the most important, but gosh darn it, it's right up there.
No, I think it's definitely one of the most important, because like we've talked about the lack of creativity and lack of explosiveness in the run scheme this year, and that is a direct reflection of losing Ben Johnson. Like, look at what's going on in Chicago. Look at those games that we saw the other night with Kyle Shanahan and his run scheme, and Ben Johnson in Chicago and their run scheme. Like, those are things that a creative and effective game plan can overcome, like, subpar talent. And obviously they were going to struggle a little bit with the offensive line, but I think not having a coordinator really highlighted a lot of those inefficiencies, and it kind of put the fork in you. Like, you can't really go out there and with a bad offensive line and a coordinator who doesn't have any, I don't know, just sense of creativity or run development. It was destined for failure. And maybe Johnny Morton did lie in his interview. Maybe he fudged the Indeed resume a little bit, but it's tough, man. And you're just gonna have to try to get that back. And whether that's poaching a guy from Ben Johnson or poaching a guy from Kyle Shanahan, so you'll have to see what's going on there. But we're gonna go to break. We're going to come back. We got Shep in here with us. Shout out to him for
Shep playing the off wing today.
Yeah,
right.
He's
going to be looking out of his left eye instead of his right eye.
And we got a lot to talk about coming in.
Macklin Celebrini.
Oh, my God.
Macklin Celebrini is a monster. He is.
I got some stories on him because my son's out there, works for San Jose.
I know.
Absolute elite. The new NHL, Celebrini and Bedard.
He's 19, for God's sakes. 19. What were you doing at 19?
Love it when
D-Mac was scoring goals.
I love it when Chef comes in.
We were doing. We can't even mention it.
I can't. Hey, you know what I was doing on the ice? I can't mention what I was doing off the ice. Same shenanigans as you. But you gotta love when Chef
Same stuff you're doing on the ice.
Comes in and firing hockey.
There you go.
We'll go to break. What do you got, Spenny?
Let me tell you about Jack's. Jack's Car Wash, man. They've got 40-plus locations around Michigan. You can check out any of their awesome different things. They got free vacuums, free compressed air, mat cleaning rooms, hand towel drying services, all of that. And you can text WSN 888-522-1729 to get yourself a free car wash, courtesy of Woodward Sports. So stop into a Jack's on your way home, and you can get in there. It's Jack's Car Wash.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, the ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill Sub-Zero. Icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science play. Chill Sub-Zero.
No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won. We got Tully, everybody. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. From Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Shout out to Art and Jake's, a sports bar setting with a fine dining experience. They've got locations all over Michigan. They're going to be partnered with Woodward Sports for a long time. We're going to be doing a lot of different stuff there for college basketball season and going forward, so make sure you guys tune in. And every time we go, they take care of us. So shout out to Mackenzie, shout out to Brendan, shout out to Tony, shout out to all the people at Art and Jake's. They've got great food. They got TVs everywhere, cold drinks. If you're looking to watch a game somewhere, you should be doing it at Art and Jake's.
You love that place, don't you?
I do.
I do too, man.
Yeah.
So
I want to live there.
The food's
Oh my God.
unbelievable.
The food
Yeah.
is
Can't get
unbelievable.
bad food on the menu. Big D Energy here on a Tuesday. Matt Shepard coming on in. He's going to do double duty today.
Shout
Make
out
sure you
Shep.
join
Right,
him
call the man for the pin.
on the
Yeah, bring
Braylon
in the
Edwards
lefty.
Show 2 to 4
Bring
here.
in
But
Paul
right
Se-
now,
I'm Paul Sewald.
Neil is out. Neil's probably
hope
golfing somewhere. I know he's going to tell us he's doing basketball somewhere, but he's probably somewhere south.
Where are they
golfing.
playing? Do you know where they're playing?
he was in Dayton, so I don't know. I don't know if he's going.
All right, I take it all back.
I'll take it off.
Sorry,
He's playing
Neil.
pickleball somewhere.
Right. Knowing Neil for sure.
Hey, just before we went to break, I want to ask you about Macklin Celebrini because he's 19, okay, and he's got a chance to do something that only one player has ever done in the history of the great sport of hockey.
That'd be probably Wayne Gretzky, right?
That would be Wayne Gretzky. In the first 100 games of a season, he's on track for 65 points. Or no, on track for 100 points in his first 65 games of a season, okay? He's rolling right now. He's third in the league. McDavid, greatest player in the world. And then, of course, Nathan McKinnon, second greatest player in the world, in my opinion. So he's got a chance to get there within 65 games. The only guy who's done it faster is Wayne Gretzky. He did it in 61 games, okay? Now, Sid, who I know you have always appreciated as a great player, did it in 65.
He grew on me.
Did it in 65 as well. Can you put that into context? How challenging that must be at the age of 19 to come into a league and do that.
Well, you know what? In today's day, and you know what I mean. It's a different game right now, but these kids are all ready to play. We watch it right here. What have we been waiting for at Detroit? Is wait till these kids come. Wait till these kids come. Back in my day, you were lucky if you were. I made it at 21, but us young guys, and when I say us young guys, the Malts, the Drapes. You know, like we solidified the rules.
Yeah.
You come into our organization, you might get a sniff if you're 24, 25. What was it, Kenny Hall and percolate in the minors or whatever? No, that's not today's NHL. Today's NHL is these guys are getting the skills and the speed and whatever else before, right, when they're younger, and the development. And you see right now, World Juniors. I saw somebody in the chat throw it up there. NHL Network. The World Juniors, U.S., Canada, all over the world. You watch these kids play, and you got a Max Plant on USA. You got a Carter Bear on Canada, kids that are part of your organization. But you see the size, the speed, they're ready, right? Like more and more of them are ready, but it still takes a special kid. You look at Celebrini, who's 18 or 19. You look at that Matthew Schaefer, the first pick defenseman, and he's 18 years old, doing a lot of the same things. We saw this as guys have slowly and surely come in. So it's unbelievable to ever be compared in a sentence with Wayne Gretzky. First of all, the names that you're saying there and the numbers that it is, but the best part, I think, is the development, but the maturity of these younger guys in their hockey games and as they learn. So we're benefiting from it right now here in Detroit, right? Axel Sam Pelican, Marco Casper, Edvinson, Emmett Finney, Nate Danielson, Albert Johansson, these younger guys, the development. Now, some of those guys got developed in the minors. Some of these kids are great enough to move up. So it's amazing. But you being a hockey fan or whatever, we've heard this name.
So what's the balance between learning in the minors and honing your game? I don't care what
it's playing.
I don't care if it's hockey or any sport. And then
it's playing against men.
Okay.
It's men versus boys.
Yeah.
Can you play against men? And some of these boys, right, who aren't, like you're saying, can. You see this. I don't care if you're out there in your beer league or you're out there skating. The talent levels of these younger guys that come up, speed-wise, side-wise. Now, you lose, right? Like the special guys are the special guys. So they have hockey IQ.
Yeah.
They have all what it takes. You don't do this without it. For the most part, the immaturity, what you have to learn is playing against adults. There's man strength. There's boy strength. Playing junior, right? The most you're playing is 19, 20 years old. If it's over age, everybody's younger. That's why this new rule with the juniors and the colleges, why? Because now you see playing against teenagers when you're a teenager and then playing against 21, 22, 23-year-olds to develop that game. A lot of us need that development. That's what the minors was for, but now you're fast tracking because of the development at a younger age. All these kids play hockey all year round.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
Right.
We played other sports. We were well-rounded athletes. Like hockey players are phenomenal athletes, can play any sport.
Which is true. I mean, it's not talked about enough, their athleticism, because the NHL doesn't really do that, and hockey players don't usually boast about themselves. But athletic-wise, yeah.
We can play every sport.
No
we could play, like if you did a decathlete of sports, a hockey guy is going to be on average being able to play all of them. Like basketball guys, some won't be able to skate.
Do you think not many. Come on. I mean, the skating.
No,
guys,
that's what I'm saying. Like
skating.
when you cross it over, I can dribble a basketball or rebound. I might not be that good, but at least I can, foul a guy out.
I can foul a guy out.
We know he can do that for sure.
You could probably hit a baseball that's going maybe about 60, 70 miles an hour, right?
Yep.
So there's something there.
I'd be confident there.
You could probably run a route and catch a pass.
I
right?
think I could probably
and you
do
could
that.
probably tackle a guy.
Yeah.
I think I'd be better at that.
I think you'd be really good at that. You'd probably wear the green dot.
I played rugby.
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't play football. I played rugby.
Yeah. And we already know Mac is a great golfer. We know that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played with him, but I assume because any hockey player I've ever played with, they hit the living shit out of the golf ball. Now, they don't always know where it's going, but they hit the living shit out of it.
Well, that's why, you know what? All the guys growing up were fans of Tiger Woods, and, you know, Corey Pavin and Fred Funk needed guys to cheer for them, too. So
That's right.
I'm greens and red, baby.
That's right. Well, I thought it was an amazing statistic that I saw about Celebrini last night, and you know, he's a 1-1 out of Boston University, and San Jose gets the betterment of that. But I'm not sure San Jose, or even how many people recognize or know about the kid outside of the hockey world. There are certain athletes you're always going to recognize, okay? Whether you're a fan of that sport or not, oh my gosh, here he is. Yeah. I don't think he's one of those guys. Unfortunately, I hope he does become that. But I think a lot of that has to do with San Jose. You said your son has been part of that organization, which he has. Mm-hmm. What's the story you were going to tell?
Oh, he's everything you think about. Like this San Jose team's built. Oh, great kid.
Okay, good.
Great kid in the community. Him, Will Smith,
all
those young guys. Yeah. But they're building a wagon out there. You know what I mean? It's been a lot of time. That's me. I don't know how to turn this mother off.
So you guys talked a little bit about the football game, and I heard you guys coming in on the rushing of the Lions, which I don't disagree. Why do we focus only on the offensive side of the ball and offensive coordinator, and we don't talk anything about the defensive coordinator?
No, I thought Spenny did a great job illustrating the problems on defense. Just for me personally, the offensive line was one of the bigger stories in the offseason, and it's something that you had a chance to maybe do things a little differently going into the season, and you saw how the results played out. Yeah,
that's why I'm convinced. I am absolutely convinced. There's no way they knew Frank Ragnow was retiring.
No.
Otherwise, they're derelict in their duty. Yeah. Just wasn't going to happen. It's obvious that John Morton hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
But has Kelvin Shepard worked out? And I don't know if people saw all the numbers associated with Aaron Glenn. Have you noticed this? That opposing quarterbacks against the Jets this year are 13-3 with a high QBR, 32 touchdowns, no picks.
Eesh.
So they're the first team since the 1972 Patriots to lose by 23 points or more in 4 consecutive games. Oof. They can't stop anybody. Yeah. And the people in New York, I'm sure you guys are all well aware of it, they want him gone. They want it as a Gerard Mayo type feeling, where Mayo came in with the Patriots last year, one and done. Vrabel comes in, rebirth. Yeah. They want the same thing going on with Aaron.
Well, isn't that the biggest red flag when you're head coach? Like, you'd expect your offense to be paltry, not your defense.
Correct.
So, what? Defense is hard. I mean, it's an offensive league. We agree to that. But would you say, if you're asking me here, what grade do you give Calvin Shepard? And I said, as his first year, probably a C. Maybe a C plus. Yeah. Right? Because you have to, and the biggest injuries. Okay. But to Spenny's point, that the 7, right? The defensive line, the linebackers, they were pretty much healthy all year and stuff like that. And you just.
Who's gotten better on defense? Give me a guy who got better this year.
Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell is the most obvious.
Jack Campbell.
Yep.
Yeah.
He was trending that way, but I'm with you 100% on that. Who else?
There's not a lot of names. Hutch looked good coming back from injury, but everybody
13 and a half sacks.
Yeah.
Career high for him. Career high in forced fumbles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, before that, and maybe you can make the argument for TA, but that's a more niche argument. You have to really dig into it. But I felt like
Arnold?
I felt like
lose a lot of people with that argument.
So, yeah, I felt like he improved a tad. Yeah, he improved a little.
Are you gonna say, like, and Spenny said is happy with Roy Lopez's play as brought in as
but he's a veteran and he's on a 1-year.
Understand that, but like, I mean, we're looking, right? So you would say that it would be Jack Campbell number 1, and then Hutch coming back off of the injury that he came, he'd have 13 and a half sacks, have that, and play the whole year. You would take that.
Yeah, there might be some other guy. Rock Yassin might have been better this year.
Another veteran.
Yeah,
okay.
better than
I don't know.
Better than Kendall Vilder, but
right, Vilder. Amik Robertson wasn't.
He regressed.
Last year.
Yeah, he regressed.
Okay.
I thought Derek Barnes maybe. Derek Barnes.
Yeah, he had a good
really good example.
Yeah.
So you've got that on the defensive side, and then and I understand why D-Mac's talking about the injuries. What about the offensive side? What about the injuries there? Decker was hurt. Sewell got nicked up, right? Glasgow's been out for a little bit. Amon-Ra St. Brown missed a game or two, right?
Mahogany's down for the year.
Mahogany was down for a while.
No, it's
right?
Sam Laporta ruined your season.
Amen.
That's the
That's
him going down ruined your season.
That's the guy.
Right? We saw it on the block. You know, I go back to that kick-out block that Amon-Ra St. Brown, you want your receiver on a defensive end. That's the block. And I forget which game it was.
Yeah.
Spenny, but you remember we were sitting there
It might
watching
have been Green
it.
Bay. It might have been Thanksgiving.
Okay, right? Like just different. But once he went down, because Neil and I said this, we were loaded for a conversation that we thought was going to come up, and it was Laporta or Branch. Who do you resign if you could only resign one? And this is when they were both healthy. And then Laporta goes down and Branch goes down, and you see glaringly.
For sure. What about Gibbs and Campbell, since they're all up at the same time?
That's a great conversation.
Okay,
We'll talk about that when we come back from break.
Campbell's the dude.
Yeah, no, I think that he's proven that of what we drafted him for and what we were talked about. That's the one that we're seeing right now fall into fruition. You know what else falls into fruition, guys? That's Gold Crown. Let's talk about something that takes your chill game to the championship level. You know the slogan, smoke like royalty. Gold Crown is a Michigan brand through and through with some of the finest cannabis products in the state, whether it's their Gold Crown gummies packed with flavor and effects that'll keep you vibing, and their infused jester pre-rolls that hit harder than a Lions linebacker. That'd be Jack Campbell. Gold Crown is all about giving you top shelf quality without the royal price tag. I'll rise for the reign of royal highs. Only with Gold Crown.
And let me tell you about the main event with Amon-Ra St. Brown. On next week, Monday, Amon-Ra is going to be coming in here to the Lady Jane's corporate headquarters and doing a very cool event, helping a lot of kids with illness, disabilities, and life-threatening challenges, giving them opportunities to paint their hair blue, do a bunch of different activities. It's going to be a very, very cool event, and we will be streaming live the entire time. Woodward Heavyweights, make sure you check it out. Exclusive interviews, different behind-the-scenes things. It's going to be awesome. A great event by Amon-Ra St. Brown to help out the community. He is big on that with his foundation, the St. Brown Foundation, and Wicked Awesome Wishes, Lady Jane's Foundation. If you want more information, go to stbrownfoundation.org and wickedawesomewishes.org.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
Walk in any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, enjoy a haircut, scalp massage, hot lather, neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of the talented stylists. Take advantage. Just hit the QR code. $20. Yeah, $20 haircuts.
That's
Where
it?
else you gonna get it? That's it. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
It's got to be $10 for you. You don't have as much hair.
It's got to be like triple for me because they gotta get this
Get the
haircut.
dye.
Yeah, they got to style it.
Hey,
Yeah, right.
absolutely. It's
You may
a
be
long
styling in
time. You
profile.
think this is easy? This ain't easy.
Tell them
This ain't
that.
easy.
Not-
Big
it's
D
not,
Energy.
it's not easy looking that good, is it?
No, it isn't. Big D Energy. Matt Shepard filling in for Neil Rule, who's in Dayton
Allegedly.
on a vacation.
You're right, allegedly.
Well, he talked during the broadcast that Michigan won again by 40+ last night.
Yeesh.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, they look like a wagon.
They
They're
are
wagon.
unbelievable. You know, they've already set a Big Ten record.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten record is 4 wins in a season by 40 points or more.
Whee.
And Michigan's done it. No, it's 6-6. Michigan's done it in 12 games.
12?
12
Yeah.
games. No, they haven't done it 12 times. They've done it in 12 games where everybody else, it was a season. Okay? So it's
They've done it.
the last record.
Oh,
Six.
okay.
They've won 6
Got
games
it.
by 40 points or more. Okay?
Got
So
it.
far this season. That is a Big Ten record for a season. And
Yeah.
Michigan's done it in 12 games.
Beautiful.
That's crazy.
There's a stat shows you that the WAG, can they continue it? So are they the odds-on favorite to win, or
I would think so.
They are.
Barring
as of right
injury,
now.
yeah.
I mean, they're even if they
Barring
get,
injury.
even if they get some injured players, they're deep.
They're very-
Yeah, they
they're
are.
big.
They are.
They're long. And here's the thing. And D-Mac, you can speak to this. They thrive on playing defense.
Oh, yeah.
They love that stuff. They
yeah.
lick their chops at defense.
Well, what
that's why. Listen, that's why I don't like certain. I want guys who play both ways. You and I were just talking a little bit about Sidney Crosby. Here's what people don't recognize about Sidney Crosby. He plays 200 feet. He's still probably, last year I heard an interview with somebody in the hockey world, and they said he's still the best 200-foot center. A friend of yours, Larry Murphy, actually told me this. He's still the best 200-foot center in the world, okay? Dylan Larkin, really good 200 feet. We only look at goals and assists and points and plus minus. Look at how they are engaged defensively as well. That's what I like about
And
what
that's
Michigan's
why Celebrini is as good as he is. He plays 200 feet.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, both ends of the X.
That's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
No, it absolutely is. Spenny got some super chats to clean up.
Yeah, a couple of them in there. We got one from George Vickers, 6726.
Shout out.
He says, who could we get that's available or might be available for offensive coordinator that we would like? And that's, I
don't
talked
know.
about poaching the staff of either Ben Johnson, Kyle Shanahan, or Sean McVay. And I want a younger guy who is ready to take risks, ready to be creative, ready to go out there and try to do something innovative. Because in the NFL, with the way it's constantly expanding and constantly adapting, you can't go out there with a plain meat and potatoes offense or it's going to get exposed by these defensive coordinators. So I would look at a guy on one of those staffs just because I think the 3 best offensive minds in football right now are Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Ben Johnson.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but the question is with Chicago, is it Ben Johnson or is OC?
Yeah,
So-
I think
It's
it's
a
Ben
lot of
Well,
And I mean, you just named 3 coaches.
So let
they
me-
all call their own plays.
Let me answer that with a question,
Fire.
right?
Okay.
Anybody else get a little bit irked when you're watching Chicago do plays that you've watched your team do?
It's the Lions
Pulling
offense,
out
baby.
it. So to answer your question, I think that's a Ben Johnson run offense, especially when I see some of their trickery, some of the things that I'd be like watching highlights and going, wait a minute, we used to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute, we used to do that. So I'm with you, Spenny. I think it even more nuance to the fact of and that's why when I heard like a Cliff Kingsbury's name, because a Cliff Kingsbury-ish guy who's been around.
Oh, not him, but somebody
but
like
Yeah,
him.
somebody like
somebody who.
So how about Mike McDaniel?
I wouldn't be
He's
mad.
just-
at
I
him.
mean, he's a weird dude. I get that. He's a
Yeah,
weird
I
dude.
wouldn't be
need
mad at it.
somebody, and here's what I want: somebody who is abreast of the evolution of the offense, but also has been around quarterbacks, right? So he knows what he's dealing with.
Well, he was supposed to help Tua Tagovailoa, and he didn't. That's
But-
the reason he was brought in. He didn't help him.
So, right, exactly. So if you think he would digress to an offensive coordinator, do you think that his game plans are implementing that to a line system would work?
I think some of the best staffs. Kansas City's got the best staff, I would argue. The best staff. Andy Reid, I think, calls the plays. Matt
does.
Nagy's a former head coach. He's the OC. Steve Spagnuolo's the DC. He's a former head coach. I think Robert Saleh, who was the head coach and now is the DC in San Francisco. I think Mike McDaniel would take the coordinator position.
Absolutely.
The question is he the right fit? And when we say we want to purge certain staffs, I would argue most people, Spenny knows, but most people don't even know who San Francisco's offensive coordinator is.
Yeah.
Because Kyle Shanahan's the one who calls the plays.
Exactly.
If I said to you the Los Angeles Rams, who are you talking about? You're talking about Sean McVay.
Yeah.
You're not talking about their coordinator. You're not talking about the guy who calls or supposedly calls their plays. It's Mike LaFleur, but he's not there. He doesn't call the plays.
Right.
So what exactly are we looking for? You want the Ben Johnson of last year. And I might add, Detroit's offense was pretty good when they started 4-1. Okay?
Yeah, they were.
Okay. Well, I mean, but we
Yeah.
were all saying it.
Yeah.
Okay? Everybody here in the studio said it. So I don't know where they go. They've got the contacts to do with all that stuff. I think that's one of those tough things. Those are those misnomers. It's like when Todd McClellan comes on board for the Red Wings. Who's he going to retain? Who's he going to go get? And why is he going to get him?
And which you see of, and that's the question. Now you mentioned the difference here in Detroit. Do we not feel? And yes, you can go by the stats, you can go by whatever, but I want Dan Campbell managing both offense, defense, special teams, sort of overseeing instead of being focused on having to play call
100%.
and everything else. I think
too much
we've
for
seen
him.
that, and that's not a bad thing. That's not a
don't think so
dismissive thing
plenty of
because
coaches that
it's a team game.
You're right.
And we've seen that.
Do you guys think Denver's offense is good? I mean, good enough. I know their defense is really the thing they're calling out, but do you think their offense is good?
It's okay. It can
I don't
improve,
know.
but
Well, everybody can improve.
yeah.
I don't think their offense is good enough.
Do you
as
know who
it
their
is.
OC is? Do you guys remember Joe Lombardi, who was here with the Lions?
Yeah.
Okay, I covered Joe Lombardi. People wanted him out of here.
Of course, yeah.
And now he's on a team that might be the number 1 seed in the AFC.
But you also looking at a Sean
But-
Payton who probably is calling his own plays.
Thank you. And
Yeah,
that's
there you
where
go.
I was going. Yeah.
And I look at like this is what the NFL is now, is you're trying to find the young upstart guy, the young mind, and I don't know if you could just back away from a staff just because the head coach is the play caller, because you look at like the 2013 Redskins when they had Mike Shanahan as their head coach.
Yeah.
They had Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, and Matt LaFleur all on that staff. So like those guys are there. And when you are being cultivated and kind of ovulated by an offensive mind of that caliber, I think those are the things that you take away from them. So I'm looking to get a guy that is the run game, the run attack is what I'm most worried about, because Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta, Jamison Williams, a child could figure out how to make that passing offense work.
I don't know
But
about
with the
that.
offensive line you have, you need to get creative on that run game, and we saw just a complete lack of that.
But don't you
under
think the
Johnny
offensive
Moore.
line makes a difference there?
I think it does, but I also
it's a
think
ma-
you could
it's a
do things
massive
to,
difference.
to put a Band-Aid on that.
Yeah.
No, I agree, but I don't know many teams. Look, the Rams last night, Stafford was under pressure a lot. The Rams last night were missing their left tackle, their right guard, and their right tackle.
Yeah.
And their right tackle's come in and done a decent job. So,
And the way they got back in that game was running the ball.
Yes, in the second half.
Yeah.
But right now, I mean, Joe Brady, would you consider Joe Brady a pretty good offensive coordinator in Buffalo?
Yeah.
He's not leaving Buffalo staff to come to the Lions staff as an OC, would he? No.
Well,
Probably
do you
not.
think?
No, why would he?
Do you think it's more of a like a quarterback coach, like in the chat? You see that
Mark Brunell?
JT Barrett, who's the quarterback coach, or what? Like, is it somebody that gets promoted, like because you're talking younger, right? And there's
Yeah.
not anybody who's using a younger OC already, right? Is in on them, so it's got to come from somebody sort of in their system, and more of a. Do you expect it to be a move like from a guy who's been a coordinator coach or a running back coach or something like this?
Well, if
Are
I
they
were
even-
Dan Campbell and I had my staff, I mean, do you think Mark Brunell does a good job as a quarterback's coach?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I bring in over JT Barrett, who's been 1 year in Chicago as their quarterback's coach, and was assistant quarterback's coach here, and I pass over Mark Brunell and Scotty Montgomery, who have been part of my staff, you better be right, because you're going to lose some guys.
Is this a move from inside? Is it one of
No.
those guys that are?
I don't believe it is.
Are they even grooming anybody from the inside? Because, I mean, you got lucky with Ben Johnson. He was a holdover from
They
Patricia's
didn't
staff.
get lucky with him.
Well,
He
yeah, but-
picked him. That's unfair to say it's lucky.
All
No,
right,
because they
but-
bred him.
Yeah,
But
but
he
one
came
one
up.
regime didn't identify him as anybody other than an offensive assistant. Dan Campbell comes in. He had his guy, and what was the old
Anthony
coach?
Lynn.
Anthony Lynn that
Anthony
was
Lynn.
here, offs him, and then he has him to assist him with drawing up plays, and then he eventually becomes offensive coordinator. I think that story is a little bit different, but I don't think they're grooming anybody in-house. We've heard Scotty Montgomery before, but if you were going to make Scotty Montgomery the OC, why would you go get a John Moore?
What about Hank Fraley?
He's been in the system.
What about Hank Fraley?
Fraley,
You're
another
talking
guy.
about the run game, and you're
Right.
talking about stuff like this. Spenny, is that somebody that you consider? Because that would be more of a priority, wouldn't it be? As far as that, but but or is that you don't hire?
It's.
I
I mean,
know.
there
He can
are
call
great.
plays.
Yeah. I don't know if he's got the play calling chops. That's the only thing. Is that because I don't want Dan Campbell calling plays next year. I
That
think
is
he,
different,
He
isn't
did a
it?
fine job at it, but and that's what Rando Smalls in the super chat says. OC is the biggest pick. Do we go for young or established? And
We went for established, and that didn't work.
Well, what difference? What difference would I look? I don't care how old the guy is.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I care about whether Steve Spagnuolo is pretty old. He's been around the business
But
for a
he's
long
damn
time.
good.
Andy Reid's been around for a long time. Those guys know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
All right. If you go outside, I don't care if he's young or he's old. All I care about is, can he relate to the players? Does he have good communication skills? Does he highlight and put them in a position to win? How many times has DMAC told us the best coaches he ever played for are what? The guys who put athletes in a position to be successful. That's what they look for as much as anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know about grooming coaches. I think every coach on a staff is being groomed for something, being groomed for something better than what they are as a position coach.
Yeah.
I'm an assistant tight ends coach. Now I'm going to be a quarterback coach. They can all do that stuff.
Yeah.
All right? So I don't have a problem with that. I'm just hoping that they get the right guy. You know, the creativity is all in the eyes of the beholder. They were creative this year. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
Can you admit not as creative as maybe a Ben Johnson offense?
I don't know. Ben Johnson's creative play against Washington last year sucked, and it ended up with Jamison Williams throwing an interception.
Sure
To
did.
me, that was pretty stupid.
Yeah, that's just
Okay.
bad
But that-
timing, though. You should call that play in that spot.
Well,
But-
okay, but that's creative.
Yeah.
You saw the Rams and last night you saw the Rams and the Falcons do catch and pitch. That looked like a Ben Johnson. I don't think he's unearthing anything there. I think a lot of teams do that. Obviously, it hasn't worked for Detroit this year, so we're bound to say it's not that great and it's not that creative.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm talking about like creativity as in trick plays and stuff,
Yeah,
but just
like-
the run blocking scheme, it was completely meat and potatoes this year, and that's what we heard consistently in Ben Johnson's tenure is defensive coordinators would stay up at night thinking like, how the F am I supposed to
Yeah.
stop this run blocking scheme because it was so complex. And P.S. with the super chat in there,
But
he
we have the
says,
same run blocking offensive line coach.
yeah, but Ben Johnson took the scheme with him to Chicago.
He
and
did, and
see
you
the
seeing it
difference.
every
Yeah.
week.
Well, so you're saying Hank Fraley had nothing to do with the run blocking scheme?
Not nearly as much as Ben Johnson, yeah.
Okay. And Hank Fraley didn't. If he didn't learn from Ben Johnson last year and implement it this year, then that's an indictment on Hank Fraley. No?
That is why I would not be willing to just give him the offensive coordinator reins because I think
or maybe not even keep the job. If that's the
Yeah,
case.
and yeah.
If you're not learning, am I wrong there?
no,
No.
I mean
But he might just be good at what he's good at. And
But
he
I mean,
is-
like, how much can you learn when it's just from day one? It's piecing things together, right? Like, yeah, does he not? I don't think Hank Fraley. If we're all in agreement that the Frank news came out of sort of nowhere, they were all behind the eight ball, and then guys started getting hurt, and you can only use with what you have in the building. So like I said this earlier, somebody said to me, I said, well, injuries really and every team has injuries. And I said, well, obviously their backups are better than our backups.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's the whole thing. So you knew what was going to happen, but you didn't
Address it.
supplement or address it. So again, is that because here's the one thing, if the epitome of the season is just go watch Penny Sewell last game with his ankle taped, and I've had that injury. I've played in, I think it was the 04 playoffs Calgary on one leg with a friggin' cast on my skate pretty much. You're no good. You're just trying to do whatever it is.
Did you get
What's
a
the
shot
epitome
there?
of the season?
Did you get a shot?
Yeah, you got a shot.
Yeah.
You got everything. It just it doesn't repair break.
Right. And it just doesn't feel the same.
No,
I
and
don't disagree with you one bit. But that's why I went back to the offensive line and the fact that when we talk about running game and running scheme and everything, when you don't have the horses up front, and you're not just losing two starters, you're losing two all-pro players. There's a massive difference between losing a starter like Christian Mahogany, with all due respect, and losing a guy like Kevin Zeitler.
Yeah.
Or losing a guy like Frank Ragnow. Okay? So I don't think you could. That's why I said before the season began, losing those two guys up front, to me, was bigger than losing the two quarterbacks.
And it showed.
Yeah.
And you know what, Shep? You were right. Because how do I know? Because the season played out, and this is where we're at.
And because they don't run the ball as well, they don't protect Jared Goff as well.
They don't have play action because they can't establish, pound. Like that, we used to pound. It'd be like, okay, hand off to Monty. Well, that's minimum 3.
It's physical.
And the way they ran inside, you see they didn't, even when they tried, to throw you off and run inside, there's nothing. That run game was just depleted.
Look at the losses to the teams. What do those teams all have in common? Braylon and I have talked about this before. Those guys are all badasses on the defensive line. I don't know how good they are on the back end. I don't know how good they are in the middle, but the front 4 are badasses.
Yeah.
That's who Detroit had trouble with this year. That tells you just about everything you need to know, I think.
We got a couple super chats in there. Rando Smalls talking about Hank Fraley. I think we went over that pretty well. It's maybe that's what I wouldn't personally feel good giving him the OC reins. And then Dante 151 says, I know it would be way out of there, but what about John Gruden? He when he was on the Raiders, the head coach, their offense was gelling before the stuff came out. Is John Gruden somebody you would even think? But he probably wouldn't accept an OC job. Do you think he would? I think he wants to be a head coach.
I'd be surprised if he would. Yeah. But that could be his foot back in the door.
Yeah, that's fair.
Possibly.
But all the biggest thing before we go to break, right? And this is what I'm confident. All these conversations are going to be had. Right, like I don't think that there's a conversation. Sometimes Shep, like no matter what, that just goes to the culture is that they're gonna knock over every stone and have every conversation, no matter how easy or hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All the hard conversations are gonna be had now, like you said. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some surprise moves, whether it's personnel or coaching staff, or as we get into who we think should be re-signed or who you're going to spend money on, might not be the ones that they decide for. There's always different reasons, but I believe that this is audit time. This is you got to go audit.
Everything's got to be on the table.
Well, you got to go audit, and I said a hot take during last break is I said, this would be Brad Holmes' biggest off season or whatever.
You're 100% right.
That's
about
not a hot take.
No, that's just a truthful take.
Yeah.
No, but that's 100%. So that's where I go to culture. And do you think that they're afraid to have these hard conversations? Or Dan Campbell, who's leading the way? I still have full confidence in him.
Do you think they have those hard conversations? I don't think they have any problem having those hard
I don't think they have any
How many
problem.
hard conversations have you had in your career?
Yeah,
where
lots.
coaches or teammates brought you in to say something, or you said it to other teammates.
It goes all the way around.
Yeah,
it's all accountability.
You're a big boy. You can.
And let's just say, they diminished as I got older and a little bit more wiser, and didn't do dumb shit.
But you could still take it.
100%.
This is
100%. Nobody likes to be called in the Scotty's office. Not even me, who's his, one of his favorites.
What was the hard conversation?
It's drinking.
Yeah.
I
thought maybe it was on
No, because of how it affect. So here's the whole thing too, right? Like with me, and this is how where you got to know your players, right? And you got to put them in the best possible position, right? So for me, you didn't have to tell me anything other than how my actions were affecting my teammates, right? Not me. Because if you put it on me, you know what I mean? I'm going to self-destruct. But if you said, hey, do you know when you do this, this hurts him, and this hurts him, and this hurts him, and you do that, that goes back to when the guys next to you are more important to you than yourself. That's what makes guys like teammates, and it's more of having the awareness. Because sometimes people don't do things because they don't know. So you have to have these conversations, so that I can say, hey, can't say I didn't tell you. Can't say we didn't talk about it. Put you in that, and how you react to it is whatever. Now, blessed that the patience, and then Scotty knew the type of person that I was, that's how you got to me. Whereas different other guys, you'd have to more or less pump their tires or tell you, it's one-on-one, right? You're not going to treat them the same way. But that's what makes him such a great, not only coach, but a psychologist.
Yeah, he truly one of the greatest coaches in sports history. Him and Nick Saban are neck and neck, is what I would argue. And Saban's unbelievable, which, by the way, goes back to age. 73, would you want him coaching your team?
Yes.
You're damn right you would. So, again, I don't care how old the guy is.
Of course.
Okay? It's kind of like Kyle Whittingham. It's a good pick. He's 66. So what? Everybody wanted who? Kurt Signetti, he's 64.
Yeah.
I know we got to take a break. Go ahead.
Yeah, and before we do that, I think this super chat will set up our next topic great because we have some audio from Dan Campbell talking about playing starters, resting starters, what they're going to do in this meaningless Week 18 game. But PSDU 8YF in the Woodward Sports Super Chat says, genuine question, why would Detroit want to win this game? If it's just because that's why they play, it's a single worst logic. Only relevant thing for Detroit is draft capital. So we're going to come into that talking about who they're going to play in Chicago. Do they even want to win this game in Chicago and what's going on there? But first, tell us about Loom, D-Mac.
Absolutely. Winter has got Michigan buzzing, and Loom is back with 2 brand new flavors. Grab the new orange or lemon lime buzzing today, crisp, smooth, and perfectly buzzed at 7.5 milligrams THC, or crank it up with buzzing 100 milligrams of cherry, strawberry, or watermelon bliss. Low-cal, hangover-free, and all Michigan-made. Find them now at Loom.com or any of Loom's 41 locations. Remember to use code WSN30 to get 30% off your entire order.
And let me tell you about Les Stanford. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. They got deals for everybody, whether it's the EV, the RV, the LT, the RS, whatever you need. They got the make and model for you. My guy Goran got me out of my old lease into a new one in 30 minutes. He can do the same thing for you. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. LesStanford.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Ever wonder what goes on inside the game?
Deep ball's got a man and got him. Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Join Braylon Edwards and Shep.
Edwards has it. 10-5, touchdown.
On the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Ball looks in zone. Got Edwards for the touchdown.
Where they dive deep into the heart of sports. Weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m., they're bringing you expert analysis, exclusive interviews, and a fresh perspective on the sports you love. Don't miss it, only on the Woodward Sports Network. Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
Sun Cruisers, if you don't know by now, you're living under a rock. They're the best drink for any game day, tailgate, whatever you're looking to do. If you're just hanging out at the bar, grab some. They're delicious. They got a ton of different flavors: classic iced tea lemonade, regular lemonade, pink lemonade, strawberry lemonade, whatever you want. Sun Cruisers got you covered. Shout out to them. They've been a great partner with Woodward Sports for all of Lions season, and we're going to keep it going. Make sure you tap in with Sun Cruisers. You can find them at pretty much any liquor store near you. It's Sun Cruiser, a proud partner of the Detroit Lions. And D-Mac, what about Chill Medicated?
Absolutely, Spenny. We all love Chill Medicated. Let's face it, no matter what we do, we all have our aches and pains that we deal with on a daily basis. Providing you with reliable relief so that you can live your best life is what Chill Medicated is here to do. Chill Medicated's line of topical products are non-transdermal, meaning it does not get you high, making it the perfect fit for all-day use in any environment. Find reliable relief where it matters most. Pain may be inevitable, but suffering is not. Try it today at chillmedicatedcbd.com.
We are back. Listen, we just got done with that super chat talking about, do they even want to win this game? Let's get some better draft positioning. You can't ask these guys like to go out there and not try to win.
Thank you.
Right?
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, they're professional athletes.
If you think it's so, D-Mac and I were just talking about this, so I want his perspective. I want everybody's perspective. In sports society, we will complain when we see athletes we consider not trying, right? You're not running the ball out. It's a ground ball to second. You get paid millions of dollars, blah, 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 right? And now you're going to say, I hope we shouldn't try to win the game? We shouldn't go out there with a purpose? What, are you kidding me? Why wouldn't you? If you were on that team, I get it. If you're Penei Sewell, my hope is he's not playing. Like, I wouldn't play Goff, I wouldn't play Sewell, I wouldn't play Gibbs, and I wouldn't play St. Brown. Those are the guys I would not play on the offensive side of the ball. All right, David Montgomery, Okay, go ahead and play. I mean, all these other guys for sure. Defensively, I wouldn't play Aiden Hutchinson. I wouldn't play Malik McNeil. I wouldn't play Jack Campbell. Everybody else, go ahead and play. Maybe Derek Barnes, maybe. Okay? Guys who are on the last year of a deal, Alex Anzalone, sorry. I mean, you may not be here next year. Go ahead and play, right? But as a fan, I want my guys to try. I want my guys to try to win. Isn't that what is expected of an athlete? That's what separates people like D-Mac and Braylon from everybody else. Their give-a-shit level. You remember that phrase, right? Who was that? Was that Blashill or was that
Babcock?
Yeah, I think it was Babcock who said the give.
That sounds more like Babcock.
Yeah, his give-a-shit level is really high, is what he used to say, tell me about certain players. That's what I want on my team. Mm-hmm. Do you want a guy going out there and saying, I don't care. Let me just collect the paycheck. We used to bitch left and right when I was hosting shows way back in the day about I-75 eyes with the Lions. Anybody remember that? Mm-hmm. I-75 eyes. That's because on the Silverdome, right there, you could get on the ram and get on 75 and head south and you're out of town.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's all we complained about. Now we're going to sit there and complain because they can move up a draft spot from 15 to 14? That surprises me a little bit.
I agree. And I look at, like, the way this team has kind of fallen apart this year, and there were mentions of, like, loss of identity and the grit culture and the stuff like that. I think that would be the ultimate stamp on that, is if you go out there and just roll over against Ben Johnson, against the Chicago Bears in the last game of the year, I would highly doubt Dan Campbell would even allow his players to do that, because that's just not who he is.
If he did allow it, I don't want him coaching my team.
Yeah. Right.
And if I have a player on my team that wants to do that or is expected to do that, I don't want him on my team either.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory that from a locker room perspective, they're going to go out there and try to win the game regardless. Like, that's what they're being paid to do. I think it's a meaningless game for the fans, and I can't necessarily blame them for that. I just want the organization to be smart. Certain guys, health concerns, they probably shouldn't play in this game because you are literally playing for nothing at this point.
Right.
But that's it. I don't want them to go out there. I don't want Ben Johnson to get his 30 points back. Like, it should still be a somewhat competitive game. But from a fan standpoint, I understand why they feel this way. I do.
D-Mac, do you believe in meaningless games?
No, there's meaning for somebody. There's always meaning for somebody. Whoever's playing, it's meaningful, right? Like, I think that, the meaning, like, this is more, there's so much, there's different things at stake. Like, if you get the opportunity, right, this sort of game, I think the meaningless, when you say that, is I don't want my stars to get hurt, right? So I don't want Penny Sewell and Decker and Amon-Ra or anybody that you think has a future that is somewhat injured that's going to hinder you moving forward, right? You don't want to have – it's almost like a bowl game, right? But the guys that are in there, they got something to prove. They're playing for next year's jobs, or they're playing for a spot or whatever like this, so they're going to be out there, representing and playing hard no matter who it is. So, no, it's meaningless not to the sport or win the game, because you're getting an opportunity and you don't know if it's for somebody, and probably for 4 or 5 guys, this might be their last opportunity in a professional jersey.
Right.
Right. So you're playing for that next job or to impress somebody else. So,
yeah, I don't know. Look, Decker hasn't practiced for a while, so I doubt he plays, know. But I'm not starting Penny Sewell. I'm putting Dan Skipper there, but we got to remember this. You got to have 2 tackles.
No, you do.
And by the way, if you're going to have Skipper on one side and you're going to have Michael Neese on the other, I don't know. You sure as hell aren't starting Jared Goff. Okay, because Coyote Kawasika is going to be at one of your guards maybe or something.
Yep.
The only thing I would strongly suggest that they at least, I'm sure they've already looked at this because they're smarter than I am, if you're thinking that Tate Ratledge is going to be your center next year, and he's had some snaps. You can't just go, okay, here we go. You can't just go to D-Mac, okay, you're going to move from wing to defense.
Right.
It's not as easy as that. But if he has been working with reps and feeling comfortable and you want to move him to center,
this the game to
and
try
you get
it.
Miles Frazier some time at guard, I get that.
This the game
I
to try it.
would have no problem with that. But I would not have Jahmyr Gibbs back there. Sione Vaki, good luck, bud. Have some fun. Tote the rock a little bit. And Kyle Allen, here's a chance to put some game on tape other than just preseason games.
100%.
That's what I would do.
I have no problem with that. You know, and because you play for next year, so this is a lot of an audition for next year.
Yeah, I hope we see a guy like Trevor Nowatzki all over the field.
Yeah.
Okay? I hope Malcolm Rodriguez is healthy enough to come back and get the job done.
Giovanni Manu.
Right.
Oh, he's on IR.
He was practicing last week.
Oh, I thought he was on IR. I thought he's out, though.
Yeah.
I could be wrong there. But that would be ideal. I wish he was, Spenny, because he would be my left tackle for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and then I would put Skipper on the right side, and then what you want to do with the three guys in the middle, we'll see what happens with that.
For sure. Rando Smalls with the super chat in there says, growing up, we were told that our performance reflects who you are. It's a direct connection of you. And that's exactly like the grit culture kind of thing. And Eric Minion Sr.
Freaking love that, man.
Yeah.
What a great mention in the chat that is.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to be grit, if you want to be the winner, if you want to be that hard-nosed guy, you can't roll over in a division game in Week 18.
Right. Is that our society today?
Yes.
No, honestly. Society. I mean, I think that's a fair question. Is our society become, well, I'm just not going to play because we're not very good. I'm going to Notre Dame it.
Right. Or we can't make the playoffs, so what's the point of putting out effort?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of that.
Why play?
Yeah, it's a lot of that. But that's not what Dan Campbell brings to this locker room. Those guys are prideful in there. So I do expect them, the ones that are on the field, to give 110% effort.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
And you're right. Dan Campbell is not that kind of guy. And listen, if we're going to talk about culture, and there was never a better culture than the guy to my left when he played. That team that I covered, greatest culture of any team probably I've ever covered, because they were all accountable to one another. And I'll never forget this. Dominic Hasek, when he was first acquired, when you went into Joe Louis Arena and you went through as a member of the media or a player, you turned left, there's the goalie lockers, okay? And then everybody else is spread out. And in the back was this piece of crap weight room. But all these guys are on the bikes or lifting weights after practice and after games. And one time, Hasek was getting undressed, and I said to him, what do you recognize about this team that you didn't in your last team? And he said, I can't just slip out the door, even though his locker was the first one near the door.
Yeah.
I can't just slip out the door because when I look through the curtain, I see everybody else on this team working out.
Yeah.
And it's contagious. That's culture. Dan Campbell doesn't lose a culture in a year, just like you don't build a culture in a year. There's no flipping way he's got guys who want to go to the field on Sunday at Soldier Field against the Bears and go, I don't want to play today.
I don't think there's any of that in that locker room.
Nope. I don't either.
No, and then that's where it starts about, you know, and it's one of these things is you got to build when the going gets tough, the tough get going. I'm sure Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be pleading to play.
Oh, I bet he wants to play. You saw what happened to Max Crosby, right? Max Crosby of the Raiders, they told him, you're out. He was so pissed. He's like, I don't give a damn about the first overall pick. I don't care about any free agent coming in here. I don't care about any rookies getting drafted. I want to play. His team's lost 10 in a row.
Yeah.
They've got 2 wins on the year, but they're trying to solidify the number 1 pick. For what, I don't know. But what did he do? Sends out a video, D-Mac, of him playing basketball in his in-home basketball court, jumping on a trampoline with his kids to show everybody, I want to play. It's the team that's doing this.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy I want on my team.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy that would play with you, D-Mac, is a guy who wants to be out there on a regular basis. I know this will happen as we move forward with our Lions discussion, but I would just say there are 2 names that I have that I'd like your guys' thoughts on who would be the best suited Lion. We can do that when we come back after a brief timeout.
Absolutely, and we got some super chats in there to clean up real quick. We have some names being thrown out there. Just Lil Brian says maybe we see Ahmed or finally Love It, and we have another George Vickers talking about Hassanin. Hopefully he could get some reps at defensive end.
That's a good call.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, where is he been?
Let him out there.
What's just quick, Spenny? How many sacks does Muhammad have?
I believe it's.
Is it not 8.5?
I think it's 8.5 or 9.
So that'd be nice to see him
I would play him.
No, he's gonna play.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that, like, I'm looking for little sidebars the way you look, like a sack and a half to get to double digits for a guy like that.
Maybe there's something
Oh,
in the
he's at
contract.
11.
Yeah, I thought he had.
He's at 11?
Oh, he's at 11.
Double-digit guy.
Oh my goodness.
That's why he's not going to be on the team next year. He's going to get paid by somebody. So shout out.
Yeah, would you pay? Would you pay him?
There's another guy we forgot to mention as far as who's played above their.
Agreed with that.
I've stepped in and whatever. Done what Davenport was supposed to do.
Right. I mean, of course, it depends on price point, but he's probably going to get a decent amount somewhere else. And I don't know if
you
the
have to
Lions
pay for
wanna
somebody, right?
Facilitate that. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you going to put your money? That's the question.
Right.
And then Eric Minion Sr. brings up Lincoln Riley as a potential offensive coordinator. Is he still in Thailand? What's he doing?
No, he's over there in USC.
If I was him, I'd be.
He's at USC, right?
Better golf club.
And what he's doing is he's blaming Notre Dame.
I know.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I don't know if
I
he's
don't
a
want.
culture fit.
He seems to me like a diva.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, he has the Lane Kiffin smell to him, and
and less swag.
And I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's the kind of guy who fits.
Yeah.
I mean, does that sound corny?
Well, he's got to
No, I agree.
you got to get by the Dan Campbell, like
Smell test.
stand at the door.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Okay, so
If he's going to improve the team and you can insulate a guy like that, and it's about the culture and stuff, and he sees that's his leadership, because you eventually have to be. I mentioned this earlier, right? You develop the culture, then you can have the individuals, sort of the Hassicks, the Hulls, the whatever. It doesn't affect. They come in
but
line.
they adapt to you.
Yes. That's what Dan has to read. Is this, can you come in here and be one of these guys?
Yeah, I'll use another quote from Kyle Whittingham the other day. He's like, bringing in a recruit, recruit, you're going to adapt to us. We're not going to adapt to you.
I don't want to use the analogy, like, because this sounds like I'm dissing him, but I think you'll get the understanding. But if Lincoln Riley or Lane Kiffin could be your Doug Brown.
Yeah.
Right? We're a little bit, like, and what I mean is he's not built like the rest of us.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I'm saying? He's more cerebral. But if you need that, maybe you need more of that cerebral, sensitive smell guy.
Yes, sensitive, but still.
If it works, but again, you got
still a good teammate.
Yeah, it has to be. No, one of the best.
Yeah.
Has to be, but the softness or the what it looks like, you don't know until if Dan has it. Now, we expect it.
Yeah.
Expect that it wouldn't be a fit, but again, I'm allowing him. He's built this. They've built this, so I'm not willing to question their culture.
This is unfair on my part.
Okay.
Very unfair. I would worry that Lane Kiffin or Lincoln Riley was doing stuff to further their agenda more than the team.
Of course, yeah.
And the reason it's unfair is because I don't know the men.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's a perception. I'm not stating it as fact.
Yeah, but I think it's a
my
fair
perception. And it's probably unfair, like I said, but that's how I look at it. I think great leaders, they should surround themselves with great leaders and shouldn't be afraid of somebody stealing their job or whatever. And you should be confident in your ability.
Yeah.
All right? I think Dan Campbell is supremely confident in his ability. I think he's supremely confident in how he can judge character on people on his team and on his coaching staff.
Yeah, fair.
All right, we got to go to break. We're going to come
Sorry.
back. You're fine. We got a good super chat in there, and I want to play that Dan Campbell audio because it kind of goes hand in hand with that. But first, KG, tell us about Vin Johnson.
I will tell him about Vin Johnson because
He's a
we all
fighter.
looking for
He's a
justice.
fighter, isn't he?
He's fighting.
We all looking for justice, especially for our football team. But corporations, the government, even the insurance companies will do whatever it takes to minimize their liability and withhold your compensation, that moolah. Well, guess what? Vin Johnson is here to do something about it. When something goes wrong, make Vin Johnson your first call. Get a fighter in your corner today. Call Vin Johnson or go to vinfights.com.
Doc's
Big
coming up.
injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shaq Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Like a frostbite straight from the divine. Cold rush on my skin feels so fine. Muscle freeze, the ache. No side effects, no mistake. Chill Sub-Zero, icy and true. Feel the chill. It's all for you. It's not magic, just science play. Chill Sub-Zero.
Spider Legs by Jars. Yes, Spider Legs is a premium pre-roll brand where bold innovation meets meticulous precision. Spider Legs sets a new standard, blending strength and sophistication for those who value products built with care and purpose. Spider Legs can be found in over 200 dispensaries in Michigan. Follow Spider Legs on Instagram at Spider Legs Official.
And we got a super chat in there from DNC ENT. Says, Shep reprimanding the fan base for using different vocabulary for the same premise. Playing Kyle Allen, Vaki, and Manu is not trying to win the game. Do you think resting the starters is kind of a pseudo white flag from the coaching staff?
No, I think resting certain starters who have injury issues coming into the season, Lee McNeil, Aiden Hutchinson, during the season, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and knowing that you do not have a quarterback on this roster this year or next year who can do what Jared Goff does just makes sense. Meaningless is one thing. Protecting your assets is different. So,
here's what Dan Campbell had to say about that.
Vets or injured players, if any of you decided won't play, this weekend?
Well, the injury report is we're pretty riddled right now. So I don't know. I mean, if they can play, we're playing, If guys can't go because of injury, then the next guy up will go, young or old. Or young or veteran, I should say. Next best guy available. We think they're setting themselves up for a long-term risk, then no, it's not worth it. But if it's the stuff doesn't feel good and it's bumps and bruises and it's, then no, it's like the next game up.
Makes sense. He seems more frustrated this year than you could ever imagine.
Oh, yeah.
How can he not be?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, that's the most frustrating thing when like the whole thing with this team was always just being healthy.
Yeah.
What's this team going to look at? We have never seen this full roster healthy. So the object, I said at the beginning of the year, finish 11-6, make the playoffs, but be healthy. That's what Philadelphia did last year. If I'm looking at the playoffs right now, I'm looking at the teams who are getting guys back.
Right.
Who are going to be more healthy, who have more, more of their units together.
That's why San Francisco. Look at what San Francisco's doing.
Yep.
They're getting guys back
At the right time.
At the right time. Now, not the two big guys,
Of course,
Bosa and Warner, but I mean they're getting guys back. Did you, by the way, see what happened with Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
I saw him kissing all over Cardi B the other day, and then now he's
he out here choking women,
strangling and assault.
There's a report, and Woodward Sports put this out.
It's got to be
Diggs
true.
is facing.
Boy, Steph, man.
Diggs is facing strangulation and assault charges per Boston 25.
Yeah, but
What the hell, man? This dude's had an unbelievable year, right? For a team.
Diggs have to choke him?
It's crazy, isn't it? Is that not nuts?
No, it's insane.
And the timing?
well, that's the whole thing, right? You look at what New England's done and whatever like that, and he's been an integral part of it.
Yeah.
And, that's not – guys, that's the opposite of what I was talking about how you mean, right? That's the opposite of D-Mac.
That is, I mean,
although Cardi B's fine.
You would argue that's a pretty good quote unquote culture with Mike Vrabel. Yes, he doesn't seem like the guy who screws around very much.
Yeah,
wouldn't tolerate.
No,
it.
but again, it shows you crinks in it because this stuff happens. Right to the individual,
and sometimes you get a bad apple. The Lions had bad apples in here, so Isaiah Buggs, Cam Sutton. You know, sometimes it happens.
I get it. Yep.
Yeah.
You've got to wean them out.
You
right?
do. Yeah, I mean, you could do it to the best of your ability.
So what would you do with Stephon Diggs for the final game of the year? What would you do? It's just charges. It's charges. I don't know if he's been. I don't know the whole legal process.
Do they need the win for position? Then he's playing.
They're either 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Right.
But you want home field, and if him playing and whatever else, like that'll show you too. Obviously, like, does Vrabel come out and say, even with these allegations, it's a team decision not to play him? That's a culture move, or it's. I'm sure that fans are saying, like you said, well, he's not charged or whatever like that. He's out. He's got to play. Help him win. I think
should it matter if they need to win? If it's about culture, should it matter?
But
if we need
I'll just say
that's two different questions.
It's a business.
If it's about culture, what's right or wrong, he shouldn't have done whatever.
I'll just say the Patriots have had pass catchers do a lot worse than just choke somebody.
That is a fact.
Like, this isn't they are the culture, they are the team because they win Super Bowls, not because they have these choir boys around there. Like,
well, there's a difference between being a choir boy and choking somebody out.
Yeah, and I mean, they had literal murderers.
Right, but once again, they had some way worse.
I get it, and they got rid of Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering. That's all. I'm just looking at this like, if it's all about winning, and no offense to Spenny, I hate the whole choir boy. I don't like choir boys either.
Yeah.
But we're not asking. I don't want felons either.
No, of course.
Okay? Is that okay to ask?
No, of course.
Okay.
That is
I
fair.
just want to make sure I'm good with that. All right. And with all due respect to Ron LaFleur, who I liked an awful lot, all I'm asking is, if that's what the bottom line is, then how do you have a culture that you're supposed to do things professionally in the right way? That's all.
You win.
Yeah.
You win. You go out there. You win the playoffs.
These are grown men.
I would expect him to play if there's no legal thing binding.
Stephon Diggs goes out there and catches 2 touchdowns. I bet Patriots fans forget about that real quick.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted I wanted to test
Especially
them.
Patriots, man. They are starved.
Yeah.
Like, they are absolutely starved.
Please.
No, I mean, since Brady left, it ain't looked so good.
Dude,
so
my wife's family's from out there. That's all I hear about are the Red Sox and the frickin' Patriots.
I hear you.
Okay? That's
I hear
all
you.
I hear about. And don't tell me about starving Patriots fans when they've got those rings.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay?
But how long ago? It's what have you done for me lately? You know
Okay.
that, Shep. You know that.
1957.
Yeah.
Move on. What were you going to say, Spenny? Go ahead.
I was just thinking, like, this is what Neil brings that up a lot, is the culture, like good culture and establishing a culture. Is that kind of overrated because it's just winning? Winning is culture, and winning success breeds culture. So if you go out there and you have a guy like, I don't know, Antonio Brown that's doing all these crazy things and doing, he's an idiot and he's running off the field and stuff. But if you're winning games and he's catching balls, people forget about that really fast. So obviously if he's arrested and if he's in jail or something like that, he's not going to be able to play. Yeah. But Stephon Diggs has kind of been like this the entire season, and it really hasn't affected them. Like, you look at the beginning of the year, he's not at OTAs or training camp with his new quarterback. He's doing pink coke on a yacht with a bunch of like Instagram models. Like, that's kind of just who he is, and I think you take that with the grain of salt if he's out there producing for you and getting you the 1 seed in the AFC.
There are a couple of guys out there, and again, I think this is going to be something we will all get into as the season moves on, but offensive line is not real sexy. I get that. The last sexy group of players in this town who were celebrated for not being, quote-unquote, the highest scoring or the stars were probably D-Mac and his group, all right? And they made up T-shirts, which is great. But they won championships. That was the key. This team is not going to win.
Hey, the 97 shirt.
I didn't even know that. I love that.
Nice.
All right? That's awesome.
ABC Vintage.
But you don't win the cups without them. And I don't think the Lions are going to win without guys up front. So I know it's not a big deal when people look at linemen. They only want the wide receivers and the cornerbacks and the defensive ends and the quarterbacks. I like the heavy set guys who blow snot in the huddle and get pissed off if a camera comes their way.
Yeah.
So I would say there are two names I think we really need to look out for. Two names. One is Tyler Linderbaum. He's the center for Baltimore. He's going to be a free agent. Okay? Yeah. And my hope is that they're saving some money there. The other is, and maybe you can draft a guy like this, Braden Smith, who's an offensive tackle for the Colts. Those are two free agents that are going to be available for the right price and the right situation. You can sell. Here's the beauty of what this team has. Instead of looking at the glass half full, maybe we can look at it half empty. We can look at it half full. You're selling this to free agents about how close this team truly is, even though they're going to finish 8 and 9. How close this is. It's appealing to guys like that. I get that it's going to be about money, but a chance to win would be big for those two guys. I want people to keep those names in mind as you move forward. Smith, the offensive tackle from the Colts, and, of course, who I consider one of the best centers, Tyler Linderbaum.
So flip it, right? Go from the player's perspective. If you're looking to get paid, and yes, that's number one, right? Where you say, do you have the money to whatever? But you're going to also look, what you balance that off is where it gives you the opportunity to win, and where can you go to build? Where do they need your specific set of skills? That's why you've built it to whatever else, but there's a gaping hole on both those spots that would you be right? Wouldn't be surprised. So as a players, they're talking to their agents going, yeah, absolutely, this is a great place. I think that also too, as those linemen and the mentality that we know of linemen or whatever, what better fit do you want to go play for than a guy like Dan Campbell? And also too, know that you got the perennial gold jacket right tackle, Penei Sewell, there to help you out with whatever the veterans is and stuff like this. I think that you are a great landing spot.
Oh, yeah, for
sure. For a lot, but especially for those two guys, if that who you think are the best on the market, yes, because I think you're going to need to obviously draft. Yes. But you're going to need to sign a veteran.
Yeah.
And that veteran, what did we see? We just talked about it. Should probably be imperative, be a center. Mm-hmm. Be a guy that's been in the heat, knows what the league's like and stuff like that, because that solidifies everything. And that's what, were we not missing that this year?
Yes.
No, absolutely.
Unless you feel that Tate Ratledge is that guy and can be that guy for a long period of time, then you can worry about the tackle, whether it be Rasheed Walker or Smith, whomever, okay, who are free agents.
And I'm going to answer this for Spenny. If Tate Ratledge they thought was the guy, we would have seen him instead of the fourth or fifth center that they've had in the last few games. Well, I know he's not ready now, but that tells me that the progress, because usually that's when you're going to step guys in. We could be wrong, but...
Well, the reason I don't think they did that is because then you're depleting two positions rather than one.
Exactly.
And because I think they wanted him to just get comfortable. They said at training camp, we all know this is not trailblazing by any stretch, that he's going to be, they view him as a center moving forward.
Okay.
And if that's the case, then you would guess that he would be that guy next, okay? Thus, you can focus on a Miles Frazier, all right, at one guard. Maybe you get another guard out there. You know, I still think they should have brought Kevin Zeitler back this year. I'm not saying go get him for next year, or you can work on a tackle. And I think that the tackle is probably more important outside of the center than any other position.
No, for sure. We talked about Linderbaum on the show. Would you pay $20+ million, because that's probably around what he's going to get? Would you put all that money into the center position?
It depends on how they view Tate Ratledge, first and foremost, and second of all, what else their books look like.
Yeah.
If Alex Anzalone is going to be gone, are you going to cut David Montgomery? Are you going to cut bait with Kirby Joseph because you're worried about the knee? How much you're going to save? $2.5 million or whatever on Marcus Davenport? You're already over the cap, massively over the cap for 2026, as in $50 million over the cap.
Right.
So it's not a quick fix by any stretch. You're going to have guys who are currently on this roster elevate their play. Simple as that if you want to have success. And it relies back on your drafting and your developing. So $20 million is an awful lot for a center.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
but for this specific team and the needs that we have, especially with Jared Goff as your quarterback, I mean, I think it's definitely something worth looking at.
Yeah.
Got to protect him.
Yeah, that's something I brought up with over in heavyweights is if you want to truly compete for a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff as your quarterback, you need to have the best offensive line in the NFL. And Goff's not going anywhere. He's your guy. He's your quarterback. He's our quarterback going forward. So to insulate that and to make sure you have the best offensive line in the NFL, you might have to liquidate some of those assets and some of those luxury pieces to reinforce that. And I think I don't want to lose those guys. I don't want to lose any of our skill players because they're such great players. But like, that's just the brass tacks. Is you need one of the best, if not the best, offensive lines in the NFL to have success. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't think, and you would agree, that's not unique to Detroit.
No, it's not.
Right.
But
when you have a quarterback that can extend plays like Jared Goff, you need to do your best, like he said, to have a top 5 O-line in the league in order to really get the most out of him.
Yeah, don't disagree with that at all. But I do think there are other teams in similar situations that are vying for a Super Bowl championship this year.
No, for sure.
Matthew Stafford is one of them.
Yeah.
I get that we all want the shiny new toy. We want it's got to be the right guy.
No, for sure.
Right? And you are who you are right now. You are married to Jared Goff, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Knowing his strengths and limitations, you've got to address it.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
And we've got Dr. Pierce on. We're going to go to do our last break real quick, and then we'll come back and we'll talk with him about Simon Edvinsson, about possibly resting the starters in this last game against the Bears. But first, KG, why don't you tell us about Buddy's?
I will tell you about Buddy's Pizza, man. My favorite pizza on God's green earth.
I want one right now.
Man, tell me about it. It's the holiday season, so the gift of free pizza is there with Buddy's. And listen, Christmas is past, but they still doing the deal. You can receive a free 4-square one-topping voucher with every $50 gift card purchase now through the end of 2025. So make sure you get to a Buddy's today, man. They have dine-in, all-you-can-eat party packages starting at just $15 per person, or you can cater your event with the original Detroit-style pizza and save 20% off your order of $200 or more with promo code HOLIDAY20. And you can also view their catering menu at Buddy'sPizza.com.
And let me tell you about Mad Packs. Go to getmadpacks.com to find a store near you carrying the best product of the game. You heard of the high-lows, you heard of the boom shakalakas. Well, now they've got their own line of concentrates, and it's not middleman. It's not made by somebody. No, they got their own facility creating all of these. So, you know, they're the cleanest, they taste the best, and they get the job done. It's Mad Packs. Mad flavor, mad high, Mad Packs.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
How do people feel about getting a Planet Fitness membership for $15 a month? How do they like working out in a clean and spacious gym that's filled with equipment for every workout? And how about free fitness training in the judgment-free zone that leaves them feeling energized all day long? Join Planet Fitness today with the free PF app, online or in club, and start getting that big fitness energy for $15 a month.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Shout out to Wicked Pickle, Metro Detroit's hottest pickleball spot. Make sure you check out the Woodward Sports Pickleball Open January 9th. The heavyweights will be broadcasting 5 to 7. And then we've got the tournament after that, and that sparks an entire weekend of pickleball tournaments. So make sure you check it out. Go to pickleballtournaments.com to sign up for your chance to play with or against some of your favorite Woodward Sports personalities. Wicked Pickle, Metro Detroit's hottest pickleball sensation. And D-Mac, what about Massage Chair House?
Absolutely. Looking to upgrade your relaxation game? Check out Massage Chair House in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest with the top brands for massage chairs like Infinity and Osaki, located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the wellness doc, creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan the QR code. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
All right, now we are joined by our guy, the injury insider for the network, Dr. Jeff S. Pierce. Dr. Pierce, appreciate you joining us here from Florida or wherever you are in these amazing locations.
How we doing? Can you see me okay?
Oh, yeah, you look great. You look great. And
Yeah.
Doc, I wanted to ask you about, we saw the big speculation right now is what Lions players are going to play Week 18. And you're looking at guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown and Penei Sewell who are banged up and have been banged up. Can you hold those guys off the field, or are those competitive juices just going to force them out there?
I think knowing them, like Sewell is our new rag now. He's just a guy who is the warrior, the quiet warrior, just showing up. I want to play. I love the game. I'm going to be out there to help my team no matter what. You know, he's the one that's going to play down any type of injury. I know he walked off the field last game and came back playing, but we haven't heard much during the week. And I think it's the warrior in him that's going to want to play the game. You know, there's two schools of thoughts. There's one more game to play, and then we're going for off-season rehab and recovery. So what's the attitude they want to leave the Lions fans with, the Lions players, the Lions management? I'm your warrior that's going to fight. If I have, 3 limbs to still work and one's not, I'm still going to be out there fighting. And St. Brown has basically done that. His ankle, is not 100%. He's playing at best 80% on that ankle. But I think the attitude of these guys and the Lions mentality in the locker room is that we're going to fight. You're going to talk about Crosby being sat down and he's playing, basketball with his family and I'm healthy. He's not football healthy. That's a whole different game. So there's both sides to the argument. So which way do you want me to argue right now? I think to continue with the Lion, Dan Campbell mentality, if these guys are able to play, they're going to be out there playing. Is it the smartest thing to do? They've been playing like this for the last couple of weeks. So, what's one more week going to say? Or what's that going to save us? Is our luck going to run out? Potentially, our luck already did run out. Does that kind of answer you?
Yeah, it just makes me so nervous because, we saw the Brian Branch scenario. And do you think, mentally, these guys, obviously they're not going to let it show, but they know this game means nothing. They know that there's nothing that they can get out of that. Does that, do anything? Maybe they're not protecting themselves as much as they should because they're not playing as hard subconsciously?
Wait a minute. Who says this game doesn't mean anything? Who are they playing against?
The Bears and Ben Johnson.
Yeah, I think there's a meaning there. There's a competitive meeting. There's a purposeful meeting. There's a statement meeting that, this guy isn't going to beat us. We beat him once. We're going to beat him twice. There's a competitive edge. Yeah. If you start talking to the lawyers and the agents and all that, the common sense thing is to sit it down, reduce your risk and liability to 0. 0 means you didn't play. Do these guys gotten to the place that they're at right now, mentally, physically, because they took the 0 liability risk? Hell no. These guys are out there to compete. And you want a team, Lions fans, yeah, we're pissed off we're not in the playoffs. But you got to appreciate the attitude that these guys fight with. Jared Goff has a terrible game. Does he want to bounce back and not end his season that way? There's a lot of mental to this too. So I don't know the exact answer. If I'm in that locker room and I'm the doc who's telling Sewell, look, you're flirting with a serious injury. What do you want to do? He's going to tell me, tape me up, I'm playing. Same thing with St. Brown. We want that warrior attitude of our players that are left. Not like Like I always make fun of the Raiders. They got nothing to fight for. These Lions have something to prove. We're a pissed off city. We got something to prove, and they want to come back stronger.
Hey, Doc, did you switch gears?
Sideways.
Did you see the Wings game the other night, or the highlights of it? There was a play there, and I was actually there when I saw it, that Simon Edvinsson blocked a slap shot, and I thought it was like off the inside of the foot or whatever. The most impressive part of that play is as he's down and can't sort of get back up, he dives face first and deflects it with his stick and stuff like this. Anyways, it's one of those situations where you've seen it a million times. Guys block shots, get in front of it. It's, a stinger or whatever, but he literally could not get up. And the trainer came out and they hauled him off to whatever like that, where even to the point for me, it was like, oh man, I hope he didn't break anything, right? But to be able to bounce back, he came back in, long story short, went to overtime and scored the overtime winning goal. And his quote was, "It's a long way from the heart," right? That ankle. But can you talk about because sometimes it's getting lucky. And I think that people don't realize that some of these errant shots and some of these blocks out of anywhere, and you see it a lot more in today's NHL, but how, from just a little bit can be the worst thing. Yeah, there's protection all over, but I mean, shots like that, sometimes you hold your breath because things break, right? Can you elaborate on the hockey where it's sort of the norm, where you're looking at that teams block 20, 25 shots and guys do that, but I mean, there's something to it that avoiding serious injury, but being able to come back and be an integral part of the game.
Well, I mean, you're showing. I mean, my best examples are Darren McCarty examples. I mean, let's be honest. It's the mentality that's not learned in a weight room or in a locker room. It's a mentality that you're born with, and for some reason, hockey players have less. Let's just say it. They may have less brains overall to throw themselves
tougher than we are smart. It's like CM Punk said last night.
Shout out.
There's truth to that. I mean, but the mentality is I'm playing for my team. I'm doing everything. I'm throwing my body on the line. Yes, a 90-mile-an-hour puck on a bare bone is going to fracture probably 50% of the time. You're looking at, you guys learn how to move your body in a deflective way, not to take it straight on. I mean, there's lessons of how to block a puck. When you hit an ankle, that ankle's vulnerable. Is it a bone contusion? Did he, what did he do? Did he get some secret sauce in the locker room and come back and he can't walk at the end of the game? Yeah, probably. You got that boot that acts as a security boot for them to have ankle injuries or foot injuries, because we'll just tape it up and put it in the boot and you're somewhat secure. But believe me, he's feeling it for the next 5 to 7 days if it's not even broken. It's just the contusion of the bone, the injury to the tissue around it. There's an injury to you when you take a puck at going from 50 miles to 100 miles an hour. There's for sure damage going on. But it's the mentality, like you said, the ankle is far from the heart. Meaning, I got other parts of the body. I got my heart, I got my brain that's going to fight me through injury, and I'll deal with it later, which is 100% hockey NHL mentality. There's nothing really soft about them. I mean, we could have picked on Crosby from Sidney Crosby. He was a little bit soft back in the day, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Back in the day, but he grew up to be a good 200-foot player. So, is there anything you're worried about this weekend? As far as this team, we heard Dan Campbell say that young, old, whatever, if you're available, you're playing, right? Which, Shep, that tells me that means Goff's playing, right? But is there something as the doctor's perspective going into, and it's more of a meaningful game, or is this just another game on the schedule?
No, this is a meaningful game. They have a lot to prove. They've come short. These guys have a lot of pride. I'm actually very surprised on how the Minnesota game went, which means, I always talked last year about the locker room integrity, the hype, the everything. You don't even see the Hutchinson riling up the team. You don't see that videos anymore of everybody being excited. Let's go play. Let's have fun. We're a band of brothers that are fighting in a warrior's time. We're not seeing that. Like last year, that's all we saw. We saw the hype. You're missing that locker room excitement. Like I said, you need like an Al Pacino locker room visit to fire these guys back up again. And I think Campbell, you look at him, he looks tired. You know, it's like the end of a presidency. These presidents look so tired and worn out and aged. You're seeing Campbell kind of going through the same thing. I'm tired. I don't know what other stone to unturn to figure this out. You know, I had to take over the offense. Did I bite off more than I could chew? You know, there's a lot of mental going on. These guys are, you know, there's a human factor that's playing a role. Jared Goff, I've talked about mental scarring. He's got mental scarring, and we're seeing it coming out. When you're winning, you're on top. That's not the best time to be judged. You're judged when you're down, when you're fighting back. That's your true character when things come out. When you're beaten down, how are you getting back up? And the Lions need to prove that this week against Chicago, against a very well-known coach who's having more success, way more success than us. They all listen to us talking about, is he the difference? Was he the difference? Is Campbell over his head? You know, all these things need to play out, and they need to prove something. Now, if they go out and play like they against Minnesota, then they were better off resting everybody. But I'm hoping we see the other side. You know me, I'm always glass half full, and that's what I'm looking at this as.
Doc, we always appreciate you joining us and breaking down, because like these things, I don't know how Simon Evanson could do that and bounce back. So it's always good to get your perspective. And before we let you go, do you have anything that you want to shout out for the New Year's with Athletes Unlimited or anything you got going on?
No, it's everything, and I appreciate Woodward Sports, the support of Athletes Unlimited. You don't realize. I hope people do appreciate what we've done. You know, I get phone calls. I've gotten texts over Christmas of just thanking us and Athletes Unlimited and things we've done. And you don't realize the game. You know what you've done to change our lives and the meaningful, and that means a lot because we all take a lot for granted. I'd love for everybody to take a step back and just appreciate the moment and live in the moment. And yeah, the Lions have disappointed us, but we have other things to look forward to. And, you know, I do need to do my own shout out about Nicole Jokic, the Joker. Yeah. I did that piece last night talking about his hyperextended knee before anybody else did. And it turned out that we were pretty accurate in our diagnosis of him. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at Pistons. We're looking at the last comment that got cut off was, you know, with Joker out, that puts possibly a Piston in big running for most valuable player of the year.
Damn right.
How cool would that be for Cade Cunningham to kind of move up into that rankings of number 1 and number 2 for MVP? So, you know, sad for Denver Nuggets, but, you know, he's going to be out for 4 weeks. But as far as MVP's chance, I think Cade Cunningham, this is a good year for Pistons to celebrate that and the way they're playing. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that injuries. And, you know, we look forward to following me talking about the Lions postseason injury recoveries and breaking down some of that analysis. But, you know, shout out to New Year, shout out to my family, everybody who supports me. Shout out to you guys. You've been a great team, awesome to work with for 2025, and I'm looking forward for an exciting 2026. But peace out. I love you guys.
Thanks again. Bring some sunshine home whenever you do come back, Doc. We always appreciate you. Happy New Year to you and yours. That's Doc Pierce, Michigan Sports and Spine.
Thanks,
check him out. He'll be back by at least March, I'm sure. But you can join us here on Tuesdays or with Braylon and Shep on Thursdays. So that'll be it for today. Neil will be back tomorrow. Matt Shepard, thank you for sitting in.
Thanks, Shep.
For KG, for Spenmo Rax, I'm D-Mac, and you know it. Deuces, we out.